Hey family and all you know doubters out there, you can call me Fortune and welcome to another inspirational talk. Today I have a very interesting story for you. It's about some very tiny frogs. And I want to thank you, Michelle Grigsby, for bringing this story to my attention. But as I tell you this story, I want you to realize how it relates to your story of success, how you're going through the struggles to get to success. Stay tuned for that. Okay, so I'm going to go read the story to you, and then I want you to stay tuned. So in the end, I have a question for you. I want you to answer that question in the comments before I actually give you my own feedback from this story. So here we go. It's a very tiny frogs. Once upon a time, there was a bunch of tiny frogs who arranged a running competition. The goal was to reach the top of a very high tower and see who would be the winner. Who would get there first? A big crowd gathered around the tower to see the race and cheer on the contestants. The race began. Honestly, no one in the crowd really believed that any of the tiny frogs would reach the top of the tower. You heard statements such as, "Oh, way too difficult. They would never make it to the top. None of them." Or, "Not a chance that they would succeed. The tower's too high." The tiny frogs, exhausted, began collapsing one by one, except for those who, in a fresh tempo, were climbing higher and higher. But the crowd continues to yell, "It's too difficult. No one will make it." More and more tiny frogs got too tired and gave up. But one very tiny frog continued to climb higher and higher and higher. Relentless, determined, struggling, faltering, he kept climbing persistently, and the crowd watched in awe. This one wouldn't give up. At the end, every frog had given up climbing the tower except for one very tiny frog who, after a big effort, stopped for a moment and took some deep breaths and then continued on. And was the only one who, trembling and struggling, breathlessly reached the top, smiling with pride at his accomplishment. He was a winner. He did it. He reached his goal. Then all the other tiny frogs naturally wanted to know how this one very tiny frog managed to do it. How this very tiny frog had found the strength and determination to succeed and reach the goal when they had all had to stop because it was too hard to keep going. How such a very tiny frog could be so strong with so much will to succeed. Well, it turned out that the very tiny frog was deaf. And the only voice he listened to was the voice in his own mind that believed in him. It said, "You can do this. You can. You can. You can." Now, the wisdom from the story is what? Why don't you write that in the comments? What kind of wisdom do you pull from the story? And I'm going to give you what I pulled from this story. Just 3 points real quickly to wrap this all the way up. That was a really, really good story. I liked that when I first read it, it made so much sense. But like, that makes so much sense when it go on its entrepreneurial journey or when it just going to succeed in anything. But just specifically speaking on entrepreneurship, there's 3 things. The first off is that we're going to start this journey with entrepreneurship, especially network marketing, things like that, where people are going to go start running out with you. They're going to start going with you. It's like, I'm going to reach the tower. I'm going to reach this goal. And there's going to be people on the sidelines, naysayers saying, they're just there to watch. They're not necessarily there to cheer you on. They just want to see if you're going to make it because they really don't think you are. And the thing is, most people don't succeed. And that's what we find out in the story, that as time goes on, people start falling off. People start getting tired. It's too hard. They start listening to the naysayers. I can't do it. They start listening to their inner critic. It's too high. They lose their will to keep going on forward. That's number 2. You want to keep going on. You keep pushing on past all the naysayers. Continue moving on past whatever your inner critic says. Keep moving on past your willpower because you have a goal that's higher than anything that's out here in front of you. The last thing you want to see is this. You have to have deaf ears to everything that's going around you. When you turn a deaf ear to all those people trying to downplay what you can and cannot do because they're not going after it themselves or because they've given up, what you will find out is as you succeed, those same people will turn around like, how did you do it? Funny thing is, some of them were on the same path as you. They just gave up too early. Some of them just stood on the sidelines because they didn't want to jump in the game, but it doesn't matter at this point. You have succeeded because you didn't give up. You listened to your inner voice, your inner strength telling you, you can do it. And I'm telling you right now, you can do it. And with that, fam, I wanted to leave you with, as I always say, you can have anything you want in this world because God wants you to have it, if only you believe. You can live a life, yes, a life of no doubt, just blessings. And I'll show you how right here. I love you. Talk to you later.